What is just a placebo effect but most people don't realize? Alhelis Barmus. Alhelis Barmus. I have spent much of my time working with kids on overnight camps. I have occupied many roles, but because I keep my credentials up to date, I'm always one of the grown-ups who is on first aid duty. While the first rule of first aid is take it seriously, when a kid is limping because their group is due to hike up a mountain tomorrow, Alhelis Barmus works a charm. Other situations it works in. Kid is crying because they got hit by a ball during games, or are homesick so have a sore tummy. It is aqueous cream with a small amount of eucalyptus essential oil, which has a warming effect and makes it smell medicinal. And it works beautifully. Because of the take everything seriously rule, you do rule out if there is a dangerous injury before you pull out the Alhelis. But since we are so super serious throughout, the kids truly believe they are getting proper medicine. Typically you have the kid in the office, having ruled out the possibility of hospital, doctor or camp nurse, and it's definitely an Alhelis job. You very seriously tell the kid you have a strong cream that will help make them feel better. You pull out the Alhelis, which you need to keep in an official looking tub to keep up the appearance. Put on latex gloves and then rub it into the sore place. Of course, rubbing anything that is sore makes it feel a bit better, but at this point, the kid probably needs attention and a bit of feeling special, and like they are being taken seriously. Then, once you've rubbed it all in, you look at your watch and say now, you should start feeling the effect in exactly 2 minutes. You explain that the powerful cream needs to be activated by the air. The eucalyptus oil's thermal properties are helped by airflow, so you need to move around to get new air around it. 90% of the time, the kid is back up and running around with friends in no time at all. The other 10% probably need a hug. Alhelis Barmus sounds like some sort of cultic chant done during blood sacrifices. People who swear they feel better and more focused after eating like one head of broccoli. Yep, vegetables are good for you, but let's not get carried away. When I was about 6 or 7 years old, I woke up in the middle of the night to a giant daddy long legs on the wall right above my head. I ran out of the room absolutely terrified and told my mom I would never sleep in there again because the spiders were going to crawl all over me as soon as I fell asleep. I guess after 2 nights of sleeping on couch cushions beside my parents' bed, they had had enough and decided to figure something out. They went out and bought special spider spray that would keep all of the spiders away. There was a tiny little hole in the drywall at the top corner of the ceiling, and I told them that's where they were getting in and they had to spray there. So my mom sprayed the spider spray in the hole and plugged it with tissue paper, and then sprayed all over my room. I remember it smelled really sweet and my mom said it was because spiders hate sweets. Then after was satisfied with the level of spider prevention, my mom put the can under the sink in my bathroom and it was long forgotten about. Fast forward 12 years later, I've moved out and my parents are redoing that bathroom. They asked me to come over and grab any stuff I still wanted. I'm rummaging through and I pull out an air freshener can with little holographic Halloween spider stickers all over it. My mom starts laughing and tells me that that was my special spider spray. I was completely floored. I had actually never caught on. I thought it was genuinely spider spray when my mom had used it, and now I was looking at a Glade can with Halloween stickers all over it. Wasn't even convincing at all, but it totally did the job. Just made me realize how gullible kids can be. Your mom is awesome. Worked at a camp. The infirmary would give campers homesick medicine, pretty much Gatorade and sugar. That stuff worked wonders. Some parent blew up and thought we were lying and brainwashing kids, so they got rid of it. I can see exactly how this goes down. Parents, I can't believe you would give my child medicine without my permission. Camp, it's sugar water. Parents, feeling stupid, but refusing to swallow their outrage. How dare you deceive my child? Radio waves, normal frequency, causing illnesses. There was a radio tower put somewhere near people's houses. When they started complaining about headaches, fevers and other symptoms, the reaction from the company running the tower? Just wait until we turn the thing on. Same with wind farm syndrome or whatever it is called. Herbalife and similar products. The people I know who talk about how great it is don't understand the real reason they are losing weight and feeling better is because they completely changed their diets and eating habits. If you replace an unhealthy meal with a shake, what you're really doing is cutting out calories. This is what's making you lose weight, not any magic stuff in those shakes. My mom likes to talk about a weight loss cream she saw in the 70s where you would put it on the area you want to lose fat from, belly, thighs, wherever. Then to activate the cream you go for a 5-mile run. I am not a big audio geek, but I have been sitting in and assisting with running sound at my local church. I am learning a lot. One of the guys who knows a ton about soundboards was telling me that the band members are notorious for complaining about imaginary things. When this happens, he grabs an inactivated knob on the soundboard and stares at the guy in the eyes as he moves the knob. 95% of the time, when he asks if it is better, they will say yes and won't complain about it again. As a musician, when I don't like the way something sounds and ask the sound man to fix it, I usually just stare at him and wonder why it's not sounding any different while he's moving knobs. Then I'll just be like, yeah, you fixed it, because I don't want to look like an amateur who can't hear the difference, haha. I used to play a game called Evolve and my daughter asked about it, and I told her I'm a monster hunter. She said, why are there still monsters in my room then? I got a super serious look, told her to stay right there and don't move, and ran upstairs like life depended on it. Spent about 10 minutes lifting weights and doing a couple of push-ups. Came back down and said as serious as I could, there's no monsters in your room now, and she hugged me really big and didn't worry about it for a long time after that. Good dad. When Harry Potter pretends to put liquid luck in Ron's cup before the Quidditch match, and Ron freaking kills it like a superstar, and then gets laid like 41 times a day. You read weird fanfic. The bias placebo. It's a very simple concept where someone allows a certain bias, as in an idea, create a placebo effect. For example, you may have a bias that fish taste nasty even if you have never tried it, so when you finally do, the placebo effect kicks in and ruins it. This is very common and comes in many forms. It's always self-inflicted and is easily fixed. It's so common that people can have this happen nearly day to day depending upon the bias and not even know it. My friend is a university student in pharmacology and works in a major pharmacy here, mostly as a driver. He got a woman calling the store once asking if they had something called Pregi drops, which he claimed was the best remedy for morning sickness for pregnant women. He claimed that he had never heard of such a thing but found out that the store did have some in stock. The woman actually started to laugh at him and even then commented, "Sorry, me and my daughter were just laughing at you. You don't know what Pregi drops is." So he took a look at the label. Drug free, doctor recommended, natural flavors, and NBSP. Best part is, in the nutritional information, it was more than 90% just sugar, nothing in it. It was just candy with a different label and claiming to be a natural remedy. They were probably just very sour. Sour helps nausea associated with morning sickness. Just because they are drug free doesn't mean they don't work. Morning sickness is weird. Juice cleanses. First of all, you aren't cleansing anything. Additionally, of course you are going to feel better after not eating for a weekend. Drinking sugar water doesn't do your body any favors either. But it's been 3 days since your body has gotten much needed calories. Eating anything is going to make you feel amazing after that nonsense. The kiss you give a kid after they get hurt. I mean, most people know it does nothing, but few realize it actually works due to the placebo effect. Actually, it's the power of love. When my daughter was very young, I had to leave for work for a couple of years, only coming back once a month. My daughter started to have nightmares, so I bought a teddy bear that I gave her and told her he would keep the nightmares away. Years later she asked me why it worked. Because you believed me. Yep. My mom told me the pokey ceiling in my bedroom, it was texture, would keep monsters away because they would bonk their heads on it, hurt them. I was like, duh, of course they would, and never worried about monsters again. I'm not sure that this is entirely a placebo effect, but I feel like the entire anti-MSG propaganda is based on a lot of placebo effects. As an example, my father-in-law is absolutely convinced that he can tell when a restaurant uses message and that we must avoid them at all costs because he gets very ill when he eats message. He supposedly gets severe headaches and doesn't feel well for an entire day anytime he eats at a restaurant that uses message. Meanwhile, he eats instant ramen several times a week which is loaded with message and yet he feels absolutely fine. I've yet to point this out to him because he's not the kind of person to learn something then realize the mistake. So it's not like he'll be like, oh, I guess I've been eating message this whole time and I've been fine. I guess message isn't entirely bad but rather all of a sudden realize that the next time he eats instant ramen he'll feel sick because he's now aware it contains message. So yay, I'm gonna say message, and the resulting negative effects is simply the result of eating higher levels of sodium. I'm not a nutritionist and don't have any scientific data to prove that message has negative placebo effects, but I do feel anecdotally I've seen plenty of people succumb to this. I can usually tell when there's message in food because that food will, more often than not, taste delicious. To a certain extent, alcohol, many of the behaviors associated with drinking, aside from direct physical effects, come about through learned behavior, environment, and cultural conditioning. There have been hundreds of studies where college students are unknowingly given non-alcoholic beer in a bar-like setting, yet after a few they behave like they are buzzed. However, that doesn't happen when given non-alcoholic beer in a classroom setting. I noticed this when I didn't drink. I went a solid 2 months sober and would be my friend's designated driver. I'd still hang and drink water, or if the bartender was nice they'd give me soda, and just hang. But I'd still feel that drunk feeling in a way. Read up on this. Oddly happy. My son was an army medic. Sometimes soldiers would complain about aches and pains, but he knew there wasn't really anything wrong. Worry, boredom, homesickness, anxiety often comes through as physical symptoms. He still wanted to help, so he would give them plain old aspirin. He'd put a few tablets into a little envelope and casually warned them that the medication was pretty strong. Tell them to take it exactly as directed. He said it was amazing how often a guy would come find him and say, "Doc, those pills you gave me worked. Pain is gone and I slept like a log." There's nothing fake about a placebo. It's a very useful medical tool. There's a scene in the movie The Birdcage where Nathan Lane is in hysterics and begs his assistant for more Pirin tablets to calm down. The assistant tells Nathan's partner not to worry because they're just aspirin with the A and S scratched off. Oils, your kid is autistic, your mom has cancer, you lost your job. Here, use 2 drops of peppermint, 1 of lemon, and 1 of lavender and boom, everything is fixed. Essential oils, homeopathic medicine, the healing power of magnets, the healing power of copper, anything Dr. Oz promotes. When my niece was about 4, she was terrified of monsters, under her bed, under the couch, in her wardrobe, inexplicably, in the toilet. Her mother made her up a little spray bottle labeled monster spray and filled it with water, the finest monster repellent money can buy. Now she can get rid of monsters anytime she likes. 2 quick spritzes and they won't come anywhere near her. This obviously has nothing to do with placebos, because monster repellent is legit. I just wanted to share. I'm probably going to do this for my son now. He's 3 and out of nowhere he's constantly worried about monsters. I will never understand the phrasing just a placebo effect. Like, yeah, it's just our minds changing reality, physical circumstances because we believe it's possible. No big deal. IT's the biggest deal, and our greatest power as human beings. If I bump into something and hurt my hip, or my toe, I'll wince, then stop, breathe, and tell myself it doesn't hurt. The most of the pain just goes away on its own. People see me do this and they think I'm just trying to be a man and walk it off and pretend it doesn't hurt. But seriously, mind over matter is a very powerful thing that most people don't seem to have the ability to do. Very odd. I'm not sure if it's technically a placebo, but smoking to help with a hectic situation. Your body is using a cigarette or vape as a tool to force you to take long breaths, hold them in, then exhale slowly. After a few hits you feel much better and calmer, partly due to that sweet nicotine, but partly due to the physical response of your body slowing down for a minute and taking some deep breaths while focusing on something other than the issue at hand. This just blew my mind. I never thought of it this way before. Well, I don't know what a placebo is, but this guy on the street sold me these orange pills that have cured practically everything that ails me. They also taste like orange Tic Tacs. Yum. A higher price on food and beverages makes food taste better. You can even sell the same food item, rename it to something fancy, and charge extra, and people will say the more expensive item tastes better even though it is the same food. My husband once had a set of tires he bought that did not fit his car. He thought he'd sell them cheap to help out a struggling person. He could not sell them. After a week or so he asked what to do. I said double the price. Still cheap, but not too cheap to be true. They were sold in half an hour. I was a bedwetter until I was in the 3rd grade. After trying everything the doctors could offer, they finally went to the last resort, the dreaded surgery. I was terrified but promised no less than 3 mask toys afterwards. The procedure went well and it actually made me stop wetting this bed. It was a miracle. A couple years ago, I'm 40 now, after some beers with my mom I asked her what kind of surgery it was and she told me it was just a blood sample in the x-ray room or something like that. As long as I thought I was getting something operated on, and the room looked like an operating room to a 3rd grader, they thought frick it, why not? Total placebo. Getting your teeth pierced to cure migraines. I work in a tattoo and piercing studio and the teeth has become the most popular piercing in the past year because of ladies wanting a remedy to their migraines. Half the time they don't even know what it's called. They just call it the migraine piercing. Heck, half of these people don't even have migraines. They just have headaches and don't know the difference. It's all total BS. Some pisser somewhere just made it up to sell more piercings and it took off. We refuse to acknowledge it as anything other than a piercing performed for adornment purposes because there is no scientific or medical reason why getting a piercing in your ear would rid you of migraines. Late to this one. I worked in mental health for 13 years in the night shift. When kids couldn't sleep I would give them knockout tea. I always acted like I wasn't supposed to give it to them. Every single kid, every single time would pass out right after drinking it. It was just generic orange decaf tea. Kids would tell other kids over time and it became its own thing. Coffee. At first, it takes about 10 minutes to start kicking in, and 45 minutes for the full effect to hit you. If you're ricocheting off the walls 3 seconds after pounding an espresso, it's mostly psychosomatic. Diet pills and herbal supplements for weight loss. If you read the fine print, it will always say works in conjunction with proper diet and exercise, or words to that effect. If you lose weight, it's the diet and exercise, not the pills. Old school diet pills used to be various forms of speed, and were actually quite effective. Falling down when you get shot. Not entirely of course, you get shot in the head or heart or something and lose consciousness immediately, or maybe in the knee and your leg gives out, then sure you may drop right away. In practice this often isn't the case, unless someone is very aware they've been hit. Bullets hit really fast and it's not uncommon for people to not realize they've been hit at first because it doesn't register as pain. Until you get woozy from blood loss or breathing problems from your collapsed lung or whatever, there's no reason to fall down. In the movies though, mostly everyone just falls down instantly from any shot. People internalize that as what happens when you get shot without realizing it and then collapse from relatively minor wounds because they unconsciously think that's what's supposed to happen. Fun fact. Placebos work even when you are aware they are placebo. Homeopathic medicine as well as faith healers. Part of the reason placebos work even when you know is that a huge part of the healing factor seems to be the cognitive investment in time, effort, money, etc. For example, I would bet that someone that lives 2 minutes from Lourdes would not see the sort of effect that someone that made a once-in-a-lifetime pilgrimage would in order to cure their cancer. Likewise, homeopathic remedies tend to be not very cheap and require a commitment in time and continuous use. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.